by the time we come to 2007, 2008, so we come back to Kenya. And then, of course, things
After
happen.
now the tour of Mavuno.
Yeah, and then, of course, post-election violence. So now things just, there's silence. There are no gigs. But then I do a gig in February of 2008. And then let's not forget that in 2007, I was nominated for Kisima for Best Fusion Record for Keys of Life. So Keys of Life has a nomination.
Yo.
But I was recording a category with Eric. I was like, you guys kidding me? Of course, Eric was going to win. And of course, he took it like, are you kidding me? But at least I was picked up in those, remember the hammer?
Yes, the
I was
hammer.
picked up at a Kasut just before we left for the States. I think it was just like a week or two before we left. And then we had that big concert at Bapo before we left.
In fact, I know that day, the day when the Kisima Awards was being held.
We were going that day, yeah, it was the same day of the show.
No, it was the same day when the Baptists, Mavuno were launching the Mavuno Worship Project at Nairobi Baptists.
Yeah, because that night, that day, that's why do you think it ended early? Because I told guys that I'm nominated. I need to go to where was it?
It was Marulamana. It was Karen.
No, it was not. It was somewhere in the national park.
It was It was in Karen.
Yeah. You are. Yes. You're right. And that's where I met Jamnazi, and who is the drummer? One George Mutinda, who had met with hip hop.
Yes.
And he was doing with a reggae group with Isaac Bugunda called Heart and Soul. And they had such nice reggae. That's one of the most legit reggae guys I've had. Those guys can play reggae. You know, like legit reggae. Not the first reggae. Aizo, Joji, Mathayo.
Yes.
Who was on bass?
And even their singer.
Joji was playing bass.
Yes, he was playing.
He was a bass player.
Mathayo was the one
who was playing drums. Yep. And so I was like, these guys can play some legit. But then, which was strange because they were also nominated as Heart and Soul for Best Reggae Group or something. But then Joji, I'm seeing him playing bass with Heart and Soul. Then I see him, I think Jamnazi didn't have a drummer. So Joji goes, he's still wearing his clothes for his suit. He goes and sits on the drums and he plays so well. I'm like, that day, I was like, I'm going to the States. When I come back, I'm gonna hire that guy. That's how I met George Mutinda.
That's crazy.
So when we come back, so we did February is when now there was like, okay, this thing is shining. So I did a show at Allianz because I really wanted to play. So I did my own show, and that's the first time I played with George Mutinda. And it featured Helen and Kanji. And
was Asaf your bass player this time?
No, Asaf Uzele from when I did Keys of Life. That's when now he became my bass player. So it was myself, and I didn't have a guitar player. It was a trio. Actually, I started out as a trio.
Yep, I remember the trio.
Yeah, in fact, guys, used to call us the trio.
Yeah, the trio.
So myself, Joji, and Asaf.
And sometimes you'd use Kato Changi.
No, Kato, that
later.
Dude. That's like last week. I think Kato was 4. Kato, I'm like Kato, I think was like 4 years old at that time. Anyway, so
that's when you do your gig at Allianz.
Then Eric is getting married to Shiba, so he invites me to play because he wanted me to play a tune, to play some music during the day. And I think it was the day that there's the peace accord, so people are happy. So I show up at the Elephant, and so I go up to the office, to the studio to rehearse with Eric. Then downstairs, I'm listening to these 3 chaps who are singing some a cappella-ish music, but it's like very Swahili-like. No. So I ask Eric, like, hey, by the way, who are those guys sound checking? Like, have you heard this group called Sauti Soul? I'm like, okay, cool. So I go down, I meet one long guy and 2 shortish guys, one kind of a here. Polycarp was not even there yet.
Yep.
I think probably I don't know their history, but...
You know, Polycarp played on stage. He sat on stage during a whole hip-hop without a guitar. Polycarp actually used to come to Kijiji.
Oh, wow.
So during that hip-hop when we used to have at Bapo, I knew Polycarp just as a instrumentalist who didn't have a guitar.
Because Bien was playing guitar. And so Chimano and Delvo were the ones. So they're seeing that you are fly, because I think so. That's my first time to meet them. So like, these guys are like that. That's some interesting stuff. Then Kanji does Live at the Village. Now, even if we forgot to mention the Live at the Village shows. The first Live at the Village was Helen's Launch in 2005.
On Mombasa Road now.
On Mombasa Road,
Yes.
Visions Plaza.
Yeah, that's the place.
And I played at Visions Plaza with Eric and Susanna Wio in 2003. So now, and I think I may have mentioned it to Kanji, because we were like, Kani, no. So I said Visions Plaza, and that's how we launched his album. So we started doing Live at the Village there. And then now, I can't remember if there was another Live at the Village in 2007. No, I don't think. Live at the Village started becoming in earnest in 2008.
Yes.
If I'm not wrong.
After Kijiji moved to South Sea.
Yeah. So that March Live at the Village, was it April or March? It was the April one. I think we're doing it every month, which ended up becoming the Urban Session, Urban Legends, at the series at the Carnival.
Yes.
So in one of them, Sauti Soul ended up playing.
Yep.
And they were sounding so nice. I was seated with Kaima, and I think the opening act, and then Chris Adwar was coming to close the show. So I'd come in earlier, and I was like, who are these guys? Because what Bien was doing, like, then I was like, these are the guys I saw at Eric's. So that's when I went and introduced myself, like, hey.
Now what?
At that Live at the Village.
Do you know how they ended up at Live at the Village?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where Sauti Sol recorded their first Lazizi?
Where?
At Kijiji. Do you know with who?
With who?
With Blackman.
Oh, really?
But then that version was never released. Saramitaru is the one who brought. Remember,
she had that connect.
Yes,
Yeah,
Saramitaru because of Alliance.
Because the Alliance, because even they're distinct in Alliance.
Yes.
So I didn't know of them.
Yep.
I guess because I'm way old, I'm a bit older. So I didn't know about that. There's this casino that is starting to percolate. So when I see them at Live at the Village, I'm like, who are these young guys?
Imagine that.
So we do our Live at the Village shows. I started also now doing my own shows at the Carnival. But there's one show that took me up to what I think is a show that completely launched me out there as a jazz musician. There was the Kikwetu Festival at the German ambassador's residence.
Yes, that was huge.
Yeah, and it had all the artists, everyone. Now, I got there very early.
How did you even end up befriending the German ambassador?
I don't know where he had me. There's somewhere he had me. Walter Lindner. Yeah, there's somewhere he had me, and and then he's like, I want that guy to play. So I can remember being called. There's the Kikwetu Festival. The guy was doing it, who was running it and helping them run. So it's going to be at the German ambassador's residence. So we went there.
And he was so musical. He was such a cool
he had
guy.
He had 2 years at Berkeley. And he studied the flute.
Yep.
And plays piano.
Yeah, he plays piano.
Yeah, so he
was such a cool ambassador.
Yeah, so at the Kikwetu Festival, you've got all the artists that you could think. It was like a celebration of Kenya and how we had come out from this abyss. So even
including Zaidi Mziki.
Everyone was there. Because even I can remember even at that time, Moses Wetangula was the minister for foreign affairs. He was the foreign affairs minister. So even the government was there. So how things work out, I realized that for my music, I like to play when people are sober. Because I want you to listen to what I'm playing. Because I noticed that when I start playing when guys are a bit inebriated, So what happened is that everyone came late. So no one did sound. Me, I went there on time. I did my sound checks. And I just chilled. So now everyone comes late, and then they want to play fast, the artists. Till the point where the ambassador, like, this was the first guy to come. So they set me up right at 9 o'clock when everyone is there.
Ooh.
When a few artists have played, but the artists backstage. So people kind of knew who I was. But even the shows that I'd done at Alliance and all these places, I didn't get that. I'd not come out as a performer.
A lot of it was also Inner Circle,
Mavuno, yeah. But so for me, I was like, and we were just given 20 minutes. So I picked the best of my tunes. And I'd already started composing music for my next album. So I remember I told Joji and Asaf, it's just the three of us. Today we're going to play so hard. We're going to make a statement today. We got there and played those. There's a song called Amani. That is what took us. We were on another level. We were here and it took us everywhere else. And that's when now I got to be known as this jazz artist.
When you said it took you everywhere else, what do you mean?
Like now, radio was asking for me. I was doing more interviews at Capital FM. The jazz community, the little jazz community, like that's and I think even Walter made such a it was like a prophecy. He came on stage and said, like, this guy belongs in New York.
Whoa.
That's what he said. This guy belongs to New York. He needs to play there. So I ask you guys to just give him just 15 minutes of your time and listen to what he has to offer. And it's good. Also, it's always good to be prepared. Practice hard. Always be ready. Because a day that opportunity will come, but if you're not ready, you just mess up.
Aroro, I love the way that you've brought up this practice. Because I remember even back at Kijiji, as we're beginning, I remember Aroro would be like, every 2 hours, every day for 2 hours, I'm practicing, whether I have a gig or don't have a gig.
Yeah. You don't practice for the gig. You practice to become a good musician. You practice to become a good artist.
That's
the
so
purpose
powerful.
of shedding is for you to become good.
You don't practice for the gig.
To work for your skill. At it. No, gig is rehearsal.
That is just so powerful. You don't practice
rehearse
for the gig.
That's why I always say that there are people mix rehearsal and practice. Practice is for you to polish up your skill. Rehearsal is for a specific event. We're rehearsing for this event, we're rehearsing for this gig. But practice for yourself. So you get material, become good, you become so good at what you do.
And this is a culture that you till today.
Absolutely. Yesterday I was practicing.
I love it.
So I did about 1 hour yesterday.
Yesterday when you were on holiday?
Yeah. My dad has an older piano. I found it and I funguan and I played. I spent some good 45 minutes.
Okay, so what does this? Okay, so radio opens up those doors. Kikwete Festival.
Yeah.
Wonderful with that. And
then now Urban Legends shows started happening. So now it was a lot of performance. Production has taken a back burner. Now I'm just and then now I'm starting to be booked as an artist. I'm starting to do corporate events as Aaron. Because of that gig. Now these doors are starting to open up.
So one gig can literally change your life.
Completely. Because now
in fact, you're saying one song. You're not even saying, you're saying that Amani song.
There's one that I usually have a rule. One gig, one song that can change your life. There's that gig you'll play that will change your life. There's that tune you'll compose or sing or do that will change your life.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's the rule.
Yeah. And Urban Legends was Live at the Village was Kijiji doing an event at Carnival on Thursday, every first Thursday of the month.
Yes.
Urban Legends was now, I think Pine Creek took
So I think the manager at who I can't remember who's running the events at Carnival was like, these gigs are really packing up. Why don't we have as many gigs every month or 2 or 3 gigs?
Yep.
So when Kanji does it, it's called Live at the Village.
Yep.
But when other guys do it, it's called Urban Legends. So now I did 3. I did June. I did June, September, December. Hey, the June one was so bad. That's when I learned now another side. Lessons by fire. I did a gig where I thought a very fantastic audience of 5 people showed up. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Aaron Rimbui. It's Alex there by himself. And Wahanga and her cousins. You guys, and I could finish the gig. You know how it feels when you're on stage at Kani, you're playing a gig for the seats and the guy's watching TV at the corner over there. You're listening to news. This is running.
I realized that was a culture Kenyans didn't have. The instrumentalists were background music.
Exactly.
And that's what it was shown at hotels while this guy's playing his...
But you see, that's the thing that I'm saying. You see, with the gigs that I done at Allianz, the Mavuno community would rally up to come to our shows.
Yes.
But now, Mavuno is not there now. I'm now on Facebook. You guys now, that's why now you're starting to run the gigs on Facebook and advertise. And so you can't use Mavuno too much to advertise your own personal stuff. So what do? Put your ads on Facebook. Hope people you see the biggest lie of them all. 200 people are attending. Nothing. Not 205.
That's why I got the 1% rule.
Yeah.
I mean, for every
if 200 people come, just expect 20 or two.
It was for invite. So you invite 1,000. You only
expect
get
100.
10
Actually, 10 paying. You get so that gig was such a tank, you guys. It was so bad. June 2008. Nice. But then I was like, I have to keep on pushing. So I did the September one, and that one actually packed. We had like 200 people. So that's the thing about gigs.
Yep.
That sometimes you have some good gigs, and that was a very good moment for me to learn. I'm like, and even it has helped me in New York.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
You're starting there.
I'll come and I'll talk about New York. Yeah. So at the same time, so there's this performance thing going on, and then on the back burner there's back burner that production out. I'm not producing. I didn't even do one production in 2008, but I was doing my own album. So the production was my own album, which is so Alfajiri is the second Alfajiri, because the first one that I did, the comp just
no way.
Yeah, it just died, and I had not backed up. So even the Alfajiri that you hear, sometimes I'm like, it doesn't have the soul of the first one. The first one was so nice. So I had to start remembering, like, what did I write? Which is another good skill that I'm beginning to understand. When you write music, especially as an instrumentalist, you know to read music, archive it. As a chart, write the chords, so that if you don't have, like there you're recording on your device, if it gets lost,
it's backed up.
It's backed up somewhere. Like even if you record it on your put it somewhere.
Yep.
So that's what happened.
The whole, like, how many songs?
An entire album.
Gone.
I finished composing everything. I was just starting to mix.
Ouch.
So the Alfajiri you hear are versions
of
what I'd recorded.
Oh yes, because you'd record it on your comp and then you'd come to Kijiji now for listening or whatever.
Went.
Okay. Ouch.
Yeah. One day I'll write a song called Apple S. Control. Save. So that was going on, and then Tim comes and tells me that there's this project that they're working on at the Elephant. He's not really interested. It's about an animation. Will you be interested in doing it? It's like, what animation? What's going on? It's this project. It's called Tinga Tinga Tales. So I was like, oh, okay. So at the end of the year, I have the first meeting, and with Tiger Aspect, called Claudia Lloyd, and Eric and Shiba. They're like, this is what it means. So I'm like, okay, why not? I can do it. So we didn't start the work then. We started the work in 2009. But then 2008, another thing happens. Helen calls me and tells me I'm playing at a gig. Like, you know this chick called Mudhoni? I'm like, yeah. She's got this Blankets and Wine show that she started in Tiana. Can you play? Can you help me play the first gig? I was like, sure. So what do you need? Like, can you get me a band? So I got myself, and then Brian Omondi on drums. Yeah, that's now where that's what met. I can't remember who played bass. I think Asaf. Yeah, I think it was Asaf. So after Mavuno went to Blankets and Wine. So Helen came, picked us, and we went. And it was this nice. I thought it was such a cool concept. So she introduced us, and then I ended up playing. I think in the first couple of Blankets and Wine. I think that 2009 I played in so many, either as myself or backing up someone else. And so that's how. So
you saw the birth of Blankets and Wine.
I was in the first show. Blankets and Wine 1.
Yep.
I was right there.
That's crazy.
I think I played the second one, if I'm not wrong. And then 2009 comes. That's when I do. So
Alfajiri is not out at this time?
No.
Okay.
So 2009 comes. I do Alfajiri. What else? Now the work for Tinga Tinga comes. And so Tinga Tinga now takes a lot of time because animation is a whole other animal. So I was spending a lot of time.
Okay, what exactly were you doing for
Tinga Tinga?
Tinga Tinga?
Writing the music score for Tinga Tinga, the theme song and the music for the scenes. I know what is different with animation is because, unlike a movie, movement is easy for me to understand, but animation you have to exaggerate it. So when I lift up my hands, those things that you hear. So it's a lot.
So even those things you are doing,
it's work. It's so much work. In fact, there's a point there I was like, what have I signed up to? Anytime I'd be like, oh, it's Monday, Tinga Tinga. And long sessions up till 2 a.m. It was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous.
For how long?
We did it for, and I'll tell you why. I finished in July, but it went on for another year. But at the same time, I was doing I had come out now as the trio, so we're doing shows for Sarakasi. What else did I do in 2009? So I did Alfajiri. I was performing. There was another kitchen.
So Alfajiri, you launched it.
Huh?
You launched the album.
Yeah, did I launch the album? Yes.
Yes, at Mavuno.
And Berklee College of Music guys showed up. Because that day before, they were doing that scholars audition to give people scholarships.
Yeah.
So in the evening, they came for my show. And let me give you another thing about relationships. I didn't have money. I didn't have money for sound. I just didn't have a setup. But when you're good to people, and when you're just kind, I'm like, you don't lose by being kind and just being, I just went, I was like, okay, what do I do? Because I can't remember why we're not using Mavuno sound. But anyway, so I went and I spoke to Tom. I told him, Tom, I don't have money. I don't have any money, but I need to help me with your sound. Like, that's all, like, yeah, like, take it. But the only thing, can you at least get me 15,000 to pay the guys? Like, okay, that I think I can arrange. So just give me the sound.
Yo.
With lighting, full rig. Full rig. That's why when someone comes and tells you, can you do this thing for, there are moments to know when to charge and when not to charge. It's like, because I usually say that there's two types of bank accounts. There's the one that you get money and there's the favor account. So like that one, let me, and even if it's not even a favor account, like I'm giving, I'll play for you. I won't charge you.
Every artist who comes here, every artist who I interview, I have the exposure conversation. I have the conversation about when do you, exactly what you've just said. When are you doing things for finance, basically money? And when are you doing things knowing you're being paid, but it's in a different way?
Yeah, and also there's a third one where you're just giving, not expecting any payment or favors. I just want to bless you. Don't pay me. Don't expect anything. I'm not going to come and collect. So I just want to bless you. So me have 3.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm like, no. Because you're a cool guy. I like your stuff. I don't need pay. Then of course the others are like, pay me so much money. So 2009 that happens. Of course, personally get married.
Oh, 2009.
2009. At that time, in 2009, was it David McCulley who calls me? And he tells me that he's looking for Helen because TPF has come back. Because season 2 has already happened in 2008, so we already got paid because of the tune. Now they wanted to also rework the tune, so Tim was that one, he was able to rework it. But then they're like, we want to change the format. They're like, there's some new musical directors, so they want to completely overhaul it, bring a new team to do it. So Helen is touted as the musical director. That's when he was hired as a musical director. Of course, I'd been working with Helen. So it's like, the band that I want to do is like, bring Aaron. And then not only that, it's because at that time TPF had 2 things. There was the live shows
in the house,
and not even the house. The live shows had 2 things. There's the live where you play the instruments, and then the tracks. The reason why he asked for me to be there is that I can make for you a track so fast. So that ended up being a skill that ended up helping me because of, you remember the 45-second things where you just have to chop things quick. Just know, that's why it helped me with TPF. Because now we have got all these 18 contestants, and that music needs to be ready by Wednesday. So I'd sit one day, chop them up.
So what's a track for, in case somebody wants to understand?
A track is just the music, the accompaniment of a song. The instrumental. So I had to create those and chop them up into 2 minutes, and so I'd go. So that's how I got into the performance of Project Fame. So Helen was the musical director, and then I was his assistant musical director, and that ended up being such a nice gig because now I got paid.
You got paid.
That's the first time I have this story. The first time I saw the deposit in my account was at Westgate. And so I went to the ATM and I put in my card and I saw the numbers. I was like, oh, wow. So as I was walking out, I was like, I can buy that. I can buy that. I can buy with that one. I can buy that one. I can buy that car. I can buy that one. I can buy yeah. Because I've never seen so many zeros in my life. So it was the first good paying gig. And so for me, I was like, at least there's value. That's when you understand the value of what you do. Like, hey, you guys can pay me this much for what I do.
For my skill.
Yeah, that was such a big deal for me. I'm like, if it's in your power to pay an artist, please do, because it does so much for us, especially in an industry like this where it's so hard to be an artist.
It's rough.
So that was I was like, wow. So that's how TPF came. But now, because of my commitments at TPF, I told Eric I can't continue with
Tinga Tinga.
Tinga Tinga. So I'd already done 14 episodes. But then I had the big gig of all, which is also the opening sequence theme, the tune. So like, at least that's covered. So,
and that brings about royalties.
Of course, that's how I negotiated. It's like royalties from this tune. So I've got now Project Fame, which is a theme song, and then now there's the. So I started like, oh, so you can start making money out. That's how you start earning royalties. So that's how now you start learning now the other aspects of music, publishing. You know, who collects your royalties. That's how the idea started shaping. I'm like, okay, so it's not about gigging. There's also the business aspect. You know, who collects for you, you know. That's 2009.
Yep. How many seasons did you do TPF?
All of them.
After that?
3, 4, 5, 6, and All Stars, 5.
What?
Yeah.
So those are some good paydays.
Yeah, those years were, I call them the Grand Coalition years. Were a really great Grand Coalition in my bank account. My bank account was a great Grand Coalition right there. Yeah.
At this time, as Aaron Rimbui, have you done gigs outside? Have you done festivals? Have they started?
Not yet.
Not yet, huh?
Not yet.
Okay.
Because of Project Fame, that was what was happening. But then 2010 became a complicated year and not really a great year because now the Helen thing happened and of course it started affecting me because of my association with him. So business kind of died because people assumed that I was part and parcel of the entire thing.
Yes.
So it was, it ended up being the first couple of months ended up being tricky. But still now I went back to production. Because now I can't gig as much because there's too many questions being asked. But then
that tainted your brand.
It did to some extent, yeah. Because for a long time I was associated with him. I produced his albums. I was his band.
Yes.
I was being seen on TV. We're always doing things together. So
what were you? You were the musical side of Helen.
Yeah, because he needed someone. I was like what I was doing for Eric. I was his musical director. You know.
So you got in the whole mix of presidential running, I'm like everything, finger of God.
That's that. I one day I read a book because I was in the mix completely. I saw everything from A to Z. Everything. What you guys were seeing on news, me I was seeing it firsthand right here. Listening to the conversations. I saw everything, and it ended up not being a nice thing because
Did it affect your relationship with him?
we fell out.
Mm,
Yeah, because he just became someone else,
I get.
and he said some things like, it's
Yeah, you know what I mean.
I don't.
For me, I just wanted to understand whether it affected the relationship.
I've not. I since then I'm not like holding a grudge for him, but I'm like, you continue the life, I'll continue my life.
Okay, hold on. We need.
I'd just like to